It says sometimes peace requires you to be quiet even when you're right. And that resonated with me so much because sometimes, I used to tell people all the time, do you want to be right or do you want to have peace? Because sometimes you cannot have them both. There are some things that you just need to let it go. You know you're right, and there's no need for you to argue about the fact that you know that you're right about it. So sometimes you just need to let some things go. And when you let some things go, you can enter into a place of peace instead of always having to fight and be right and have the last word. And that can be exhausting. That can be really, really exhausting. So why don't you just think about maybe sometimes peace requires you to be quiet even when you're right. Sometimes you don't need to say anything and you still win. Okay? That's my thought on peace this week. So we're almost at the end of this Medicaid training, and so I've just changed it to Thursday trainings. So this week we're going to be talking about critical illness, then we'll talk about accident. Oh, I think these dates are wrong, but we're going to be talking about the 4 C's of mortgages and then credit. So after we've talked about critical illness, accident, disability, we're going to go into some talking about mortgages. Since this is mortgage season, we're going to be talking about that a little bit to kind of get you ready because we want you to be financially prepared for any and all things. Okay, so today we are going to be talking about critical illness. Now, this to me is very important because for me, I had a situation where my aunt, well, actually, a lot of people in my family have passed away, and have had to deal with critical illnesses, and a critical illness can be such a difficult time and a stressful time in your life and in your family life. So we're talking about heart disease and different things like that. So some of the statistics that have to do with critical illnesses is the average loss of income for anyone that suffers a critical illness could be $50,000. So, can you actually live without $50,000? On average, someone that suffers a critical illness will be off work at least 3 months. Just think about this. I also think of critical illness as an income protection. So this type of plan will help you to protect your income. Can you afford to be off work for 3 months? Can you afford to lose $50,000 in income if you have a critical illness? By age 65, 1 in 2 people will suffer at least one critical illness. And nearly half of all U.S. adults in life will have heart disease. I mean, think about this. This is amazing. Half of all adults will have heart disease, and approximately 40% of Americans will be diagnosed with some form of cancer during their lifetime. And the thing about cancer is you've got kids that are diagnosed, you've got teens, you've got grown folks, you got older folks. So all of these different things let us know that we need to have some type of critical illness insurance policy, because if this happens to you, this can really be financial ruin for you and your family, because if you can't work, then you can't pay your mortgage, you can't pay your car payment, you can't pay your house payment, you have difficulty buying food. I mean, it just affects so much of your life. Some of the critical illnesses that these type of policies might cover would be heart disease, diabetes, cancer, COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, stroke, major organ failure, Alzheimer's, and more. So it is going to be dependent upon what plan you have, what it's going to cover. And the way that critical illness plans work is that you pay a premium each month for the plan, and if you have a particular in one of these particular illnesses, then the plan will pay you a lump sum of money. So if you have a $50,000 policy, then if you are diagnosed with cancer, let's say, the insurance company will pay you that $50,000. Now that $50,000, for instance, is going to come directly to you. So you can decide what you want to do with it. You may want to pay off some of your medical bills. You may want to use it as income replacement. You may want to use it because you have to change some things in your household. So you may want to use it to have a maid come in because you don't want to necessarily have to clean. So there are so many different ways that you can use the $50,000. But I just think about my aunt who had cancer, who died of cancer. Actually, I have a few aunts that died of cancer, but one in particular. It was a very difficult, it was a very stressful time for us. And having critical illness insurance can take away some of that stress. It's not going to take away all of the stress because you're still dealing with your loved one and trying to help them to get better, but it can take away the financial stress from you. And so critical illness and a critical illness insurance policy is definitely something that you should consider and something that can definitely help. And then if you've lost your Medicaid, I know we've been talking about Medicaid, but if you lose your Medicaid, that type of policy would also be beneficial too, because if you have a critical illness, you may not be able to work, and so that would be beneficial for some people. As always, I do want to invite you to get my magazine, my digital magazine. And what I love about the magazine is it has so many different types of articles. It has these wonderful recipes in it, but then it also has all other types of articles too that will help you relieve stress or help you declutter or help you, I mean, just with so many different aspects of your life. It's called Simply Healthy. And I would invite you to get that, and I would love to share that with you. Again, it's always a pleasure to be on here with you, and I hope that you have an amazing day and have an amazing weekend, and I will see you next Thursday. Alrighty, have a good day. Bye bye.